If no one's told you these 5 tips, then you've probably failed in calisthenics or are failing right now. You guys will never learn the planche or any skills if you don't learn these things. Yo guys, what is up? C-Ray back with another video, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about 5 tips that you definitely need to be knowing about before you start calisthenics, or even if you have started calisthenics, you need to know these now. So if you're struggling with calisthenics now and you feel like you're not really going anywhere, there's probably a reason for that, and this is the first tip. So the first tip is deciding what type of calisthenics training style that you want to do. This goes for people who are struggling right now in calisthenics, but also people who haven't even started yet and they're looking to start. You guys need to figure out a style of calisthenics that you like, one that you want to do, and one that you feel like you can be consistent with. There are many different calisthenics training styles, and the ones that I can name off the top of the head are freestyle calisthenics, skill-based calisthenics, static training in calisthenics, rep-based work in calisthenics, and weighted calisthenics. Once you get to a high level, you can eventually incorporate all of these together, but if you're just starting, you definitely need to pick 1 or maybe even 2 max and roll with that. The ones that I'd recommend you learn straight away is definitely going to be the rep-based work to improve your strength, and I would also recommend learning a few skills just to start off. Nothing crazy, some beginner skills that are going to create and develop your full body awareness that I'll talk about in a minute. So the second tip I have for you guys is to make sure you get really freaking good at the basics. So with the basics, I'm talking about your push-ups, your pull-ups, your dips, and even your squats. Unfortunately, you can't escape leg day even in calisthenics, okay? So what I mean by getting really good at doing these is I mean getting to a very high level where it becomes easy to do 50 reps of push-ups, 20 reps of dips, 12 plus pull-ups, and at least 50 squats in a row. So if you're doing calisthenics and you're struggling to progress right now, if you haven't achieved those milestones I've just said, that's probably the reason why. You need to develop your overall foundational strength base in calisthenics before you try to unlock anything that's a little bit more advanced. For instance, it's going to be a lot harder for you to hold a handstand because you still need that basic strength. It's not all about balance. You guys need to build it up, and you guys need to build up your pushing strength through basic push-up variations. Then the handstand will become a little bit easier for you. But it's not just strength that's going to consolidate your foundational base in calisthenics. You also have to work on the full body awareness that I previously talked about in tip 1. So when I talk about full body awareness, I'm talking about what you're doing with your body, whether that's working on your full body control in a movement or working on your balance and coordination in a movement. So this could be, for instance, the handstand as we talked about, making sure that you get to a good level of bodily understanding and improve that mind to muscle connection to make you perform the exercise with the correct form and the correct technique. The first skill I'd recommend anyone to learn before they do any other skill in calisthenics or try to learn any other skill is going to be the frog stand. I talk about this in so many videos, guys, and there's a reason why. This skill is not only going to build up a little bit of strength in the shoulders and the core, but also you guys are going to understand how it feels to be balancing using your hands, which is very pivotal in calisthenics, as most of the exercises, whether it's push or pull, are going to involve using your hands and your wrists. And so building them up early, improving the strength in your wrist, and also understanding the dynamics of balance is going to be pivotal for your journey. You might be thinking, well, how can I pick a style of calisthenics when you've just told me what to do? I'm just saying that you want to be good at doing all these exercises, as it's going to be a crossover into any style of calisthenics training you want to go into. Tip number 3 is to warm up and stretch. Everyone hates this one because it's super boring, so I'm going to make it very interesting, okay? So bear with me. If you want to get good at calisthenics and you want to actually be successful, you guys have to be working on your mobility. So that means working on stretches, warming up beforehand, and also stretching after your workouts. It doesn't matter if this is 5 minutes long or 15 minutes long, every little helps. The 3 most important things you need to be warming up and stretching out are going to be your wrists, because most movements in calisthenics are going to require your wrists. Even when we talk about the push-ups and pull-ups and dips, those are all going to require your wrists to a certain extent, even if it's just for stability purposes. So building up a good level of flexibility and also strength in the wrists is going to be key. Make sure you focus on this or you're going to get injured super easily. You need to make sure your wrists are not made of glass and make sure they're made of steel. And also the frog stand is going to help with this, so that's why I included it. Next thing you need to be stretching out and warming up and working on mobility is going to be the shoulders. You need to make sure your shoulders are at a good level of mobility. So that means even working on things like band dislocates or even just normal dislocates with a stick. You guys need to make sure that your shoulders have a great level of overall mobility so that exercises that you do become easier. Because I'm going to tell you right now, guys, the more advanced you get in calisthenics, the more mobility becomes an important factor. So you want to make sure that your mobility is not prohibiting you from performing these advanced skills. I want the best for you guys. I want you guys to be able to do superhuman skills, master your body weight, and achieve godlike skills. So guys, make sure this is really a key factor in your training or you're gonna suffer. As I said, guys, 5 minutes a day is gonna be better than nothing. And the very last thing that you guys wanna be working on is just mobility in your legs and flexibility in your legs. So one of the most important parts of the leg in order to work on that flexibility is going to be the hamstrings. You wanna make sure that the hamstrings are at a good level of mobility and also your hip flexors too. So the hamstrings and the hip flexors play an important role in most movements. Even with the beginner movements, if you haven't got a good level of hip flexor mobility and also hamstring flexibility, you guys are really going to suffer in basic skills like the L-sit, for example. And then when it comes to other skills in calisthenics that are going to require you to keep that L-sit position, which trust me, is quite a lot, you guys are going to really struggle with this and it's going to stop you from achieving your potential. So work on the hamstrings, work on your hip flexor mobility, and I'll put some exercises on the screen right now that you guys can start doing and including in your routine in order to progress in that area. Tip 4 is not to work on more than 2 skills at the same time. So if you guys want to learn the handstand and you also want to learn the front lever, for instance, that's completely fine. But if you guys want to learn the handstand, the front lever, and also the muscle up, that could get a little bit difficult for you guys, and also it's a lot of volume to keep up with. You guys need to make sure that if you do more than 1 to 2 skills, you're experienced in calisthenics, you have a good foundation as we talked about, and also you're working on your mobility to stop you getting injured. But also a key factor is making sure that you have the right program so that you don't injure yourself, because believe it or not, doing that many skills at the same time is going to be a lot for your wrists, your shoulders, and even your hip flexors, as we talked about. So you want to make sure that your training is evenly spread and distributed over the week or over the month so that you're not getting any setbacks that could have been avoided. I know it's super tempting to work on more than 2 skills every single week, and you get tempted by social media, especially when you see people do insane stuff on social media. You guys have to know that these skills took months, years of practice and patience. So don't worry, you guys will get there eventually, but you aren't going to get there if you don't follow all these tips, and especially the last tip that I'm about to tell you. And number 5, which is the most important point, is to enjoy the journey and the process by mastering patience and consistency. You guys will never learn the planche or any skills if you don't learn these things. I remember when I tried to rush into calisthenics, I didn't luckily get injured just from pure luck, but I did really suffer to build up some strength and also develop my skills in certain areas because I was trying to do way too many skills at the same time. Even a lot of my clients right now, before they started working with me, were doing so many skills, they were getting injuries, but I managed to fix them because I told them my experience and how that spread me too thin over too many different avenues of strength, and therefore it was too much volume also, and that's why I didn't progress. But working on a solid program is going to allow you to progress way quicker than you even think is possible, trust me. But if you do learn and understand patience and consistency, you can unlock any skill that you desire. And I'm talking any skill. Yes, it might take you 1 year, it might take you 2 years, it might take you 3 years, it might take you 4 years. But guys, if you're patient, consistent, and you do everything right in order to achieve that skill, there's no one stopping you, and you can unlock anything your heart desires, I promise you. If you're doing all these things right, then the only thing stopping you right now is time. But time can only move forward, and so you're destined for greatness. That is it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something new about calisthenics, and hopefully I helped you out if you're a beginner and you're unsure of where to go, what to do. I also just released another video on how to start calisthenics and the exercises that you need to be doing if you are a true beginner and you've never started calisthenics. So go and check that out. I'll put the video right here. Also, don't forget to like the video if you did enjoy it, comment what you want to see next, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos just like this. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.